Imagine spending hours cheering for an underdog, watching him overcome impossible odds to save his people, only to realize you've been rooting for a burgeoning tyrant the entire time. That is the narrative tension at the heart of Timothée Chalamet's portrayal of Paul Atreides. For 2 movies, audiences followed a familiar trajectory. A young royal loses his family, retreats into the desert, learns the ways of fierce fighters, and rises to reclaim his birthright. It's a formula mirrored in massive franchises for decades. We are conditioned by popular cinema to trust the chosen one archetype, even when the character's internal thoughts suggest a darker path. We cheered as Paul drank the water of life and rallied the Fremen to war. The momentum of the cinematic spectacle often overrides the subtle red flags planted in the dialogue. This traditional hero's journey serves a specific purpose. It builds the emotional investment to make the eventual reveal of Paul's actions carry actual weight. Following the 2021 film, multiple critics argued the adaptation stripped away the complex skepticism found in Frank Herbert's original text. Academic papers like A Genuine Messiah noted the movie downplayed the book's Middle Eastern influences and critique of charismatic leadership. This shifted Paul's powers into a source of wonder and heroic capability, rather than the terrible purpose described in the novel. Director Denis Villeneuve characterized the story as a tragedy, but chose to focus the first 2 films heavily on Paul's perspective, from a boy losing everything to an adult coming into his power. This focus ensures the audience is fully aligned with Paul's rise. By following his journey closely, the film mirrors how a population is seduced by a charismatic leader before seeing the consequences of that leadership. The elements criticized as standard Hollywood are the mechanisms that allow the 3rd film to subvert the audience's expectations of a heroic conclusion. Villeneuve is shifting the genre for the final chapter. Dune Part 3 moves away from the large-scale desert action of the first 2 films into a focused political thriller. The story picks up 17 years later. Paul Atreides is no longer the talented boy, but an aged emperor. That reign is built on the holy war he unleashed, a conflict that has destroyed thousands of worlds and billions of lives. The film's new rhythm is designed to highlight the aftermath of these choices. It focuses on the weight of ruling an empire shaped by fanaticism and the breakdown of Paul's own prescient visions. The traditional action conflict is replaced by an internal struggle for survival. Paul's power is now so absolute that his only remaining enemies are the ones plotting within his own inner circle. Princess Irulan is central to this conspiracy. Her role has shifted from a passive chronicler to a cunning antagonist, driven by Paul's refusal to secure her family's bloodline through an heir. Paul's sister, Alia, has become a formidable political player. Born with the memories of generations, she carries a perspective that makes her both his closest ally and a potential threat to his stability. Even Chani, who was Paul's primary support in the desert, is now his most vocal detractor. The betrayal she felt at the end of the previous film has hardened into a direct opposition to his rule. In this final installment, the characters the audience was previously led to support are the very people attempting to dismantle the protagonist's empire. This narrative arc aligns the films with Frank Herbert's original intention. He was frustrated by readers who viewed Paul Atreides as a straightforward hero. He wrote the sequel, Dune Messiah, as a direct response to that interpretation, showing the horrific consequences of following a perfect leader into a holy war. His ultimate warning was simple: beware of charismatic leaders. The films use the hero's journey structure to illustrate how easily a population, and the cinema audience, can be convinced to support the rise of a destructive power. By the end of the trilogy, the story demonstrates that the search for a savior often creates the very conditions that lead to the loss of individual and collective freedom.